I'm called to sharpen the eyes of a black man. You know, the problem with us black people is that we are too naive. We are too trusting. Now, I'm going to read something to you that has been written by white people, indicating how they perceive us.
Hello, my beautiful people. It's my greatest pleasure, as always, to have you on the channel. I hope you're doing great wherever you are, and I welcome you to the channel again to come and share knowledge, educate ourselves about, and empower the Black person, empower Africa. Now, in today's episode, I want us to talk about this subject or topic of white supremacy. What is white supremacy, and what does white supremacy say about us as a Black people and as a Black community and as a Black culture? And what is how does it shape the behavior of white people towards the Black people? Now, before we go into details about what we're going to talk about, I have a very interesting, educative, and intriguing video about the same that I want us to watch together. And at the end of the video, we're going to have a detailed analysis, our own objective analysis on what this whole ideology of white supremacy is, especially in the eyes, in the perspective of the Black person. So let's jump right into the video first.
Are we ready there for sharpening the black mind? I don't see anybody behind the camera. I'm called to sharpen the eyes of a black man. You know, the problem with us black people is that we are too naive. We are too trusting. Now, I'm going to read something to you that has been written by white people, indicating how they perceive us. Written by white people. And this thing is called White Supremacy Handbook. I'll read a few points today so that you understand. But I want you to understand exactly where this leads us to. The first point of that is said in the 11 commandments for white supremacy. 1, never let black people know what you are thinking. White people will never let you know what you are thinking. That is why when you work with a white person, he will give you information to a certain extent. He won't give you everything. Because if he gives you all the knowledge, you'll be equal to him. And he wants you to remain subject to him. So that is why they say, never let black people know what you're thinking. Intentionally mislead them as much as you can. And I want you to tell me, how much do you think you've been misled by white people? Intentionally so. If you want me to send you this, you can just send me a WhatsApp, I'll send it to you. Mislead them. How much have we been misled? To which extent do we suffer misleading and misinformation from white people? 2, It says, always appear friendly and humanitarian. Never appear to be aware that you belong to or identify with the superior race. In other words, what they're saying is that when they talk to us, they'll be very nice. They'll be very courteous. But in their minds, this is a strategy for us to trust them so that we do not see what their intentions about us are. And it goes further to say, look for blacks you can use to advance your cause. This is never difficult, as most of them identify with their oppressors. I think iphinde ngisho use bathini vava said no. Look for blacks you can use. You find blacks that will advance your cause. Find them. They are easy to find. They are easy to buy. That's why you can find a president who's a billionaire who has never started any business. You buy them and they will sell their people to you. Phone. Let's proceed. I'll just read the next two ones and I'm going to sit down. Look for blacks you can use to advance your cause. That's why white people don't worry. They'll find somebody from amongst us who will advance their cause. They will find somebody who will push the elections towards a coalition with a DA when black people can comprise 2/3 majority and rule, change the constitution. They'll deter that by finding one person. Look for blacks you can use to advance your cause. This is never difficult because they like identifying with oppressors. Hai makoa arena, asele kwa la mau. Asele kwa lao. That's a snake. For the next 4 weeks, listen to them. This is a strategy they use. Use religion to gain their confidence. That's why I will never be a religious person who just swallows everything. I'm a very vigilant religious person. And nonsense is nonsense. Twat is twat. And when it comes to me telling a white person where to get off, I'll do so without hesitation. Because I'm not going to allow myself to be strategized upon. Use religion to gain their confidence. They are a religiously immature people. They're saying that about you. Historically, when we endorse their gods, it opens up an opportunity for us to exploit them. So, mina ongazongitshela ngomlungu, I don't worship whiteness. I don't endorse white supremacy. I'm here to make sure white supremacy and white domination is brought to its knees. And I'm not going to be tamed by religion that will make me afraid to confront that. Nchapeleng matsogo fediso bolela. Bakhona abongeza. Lena most of
Okay, welcome back. So that is the video, and that is one profoundly informative video. I personally will say I really love that preacher, because that preacher is an exact epitome of an awoke African, or he is a perfect example of an awoke African leader. And such are the leaders that we need in Africa, be they in institutions of leadership, institutions of learning, even in our families, even religious institutions like the church, the mosques, and the temples, and wherever. We need people that are woke to the truth, that know something about our history, that know something about who the black person is, what is happening to the black person, and the historical injustices that the black person has undergone and is continuing to undergo. So this video, basically, I want us to talk about, as you have already heard, the whole concept, the ideology of white supremacy. And well, this is a very flawed propaganda, because, the best way to sell a lie is to repeat it so many times until the people, because once something, even if it is a propaganda, even if it is a lie, once it's repeated to you so many times, you begin to internalize the lie and normalize the lie, and then get used to it and agree to the propaganda. Now, when you go reading and doing some research across these white supremacy handbook texts, or such books that talk about the same, because we as black people must dig deep into history to find where the rain started beating us. I love it that it has come to our attention that, first of all, we as a black culture, we must never agree that the white supremacist, the white imperialist, or the white person uses religion to subjugate us. Now, let's just go a little bit deep down into. So, what are the points that the exact main points that white supremacy advocates for, these propagates? Now, the first one, of course, is racial hierarchy. This is where the white supremacists believe that their race, the white race, is superior to other races, that they are intellectually, biologically, morally, and even spiritually superior than other races. Now, so that is a first point. And that basically, to think that just because of the color of your skin, you're intellectually gifted than someone of a different shade of skin lacks any scientific backing, any scientific evidence. Now, another thing is we call ethnic nationalism. So, ethnic nationalism basically is when the white supremacists believe that they are entitled to their own nations, their own societies, their own residences, their own, this is basically talks so much about segregation. This really happened in Africa during those years when a lot of colonialists were still physically in the continent, where there were white schools uh, and black schools, white villages and black villages, white towns, and everything was segregated because they believe in this ethnic nationalism where they have, in a way, because they're not going to mix with the people of an inferior race, they believe that they need to have their own societies that they lock the, you see, and this happens as even as of today, and especially in places in Africa, in places like South Africa, for example, it's much more pronounced than everywhere else in the continent, where there are even towns that are exclusively for white people. Even in Africa, on our own land, they have white settlements, white only settlements. And talking about South Africa, and the preacher in this video is a South African, I believe. There's been this white immigrant from the UK who came to South Africa a while ago, got his passport and eventually his citizenship to become a citizen of South Africa, and he formed a political party, and he started this campaign to have the Western Cape province of South Africa freed from the rest of South Africa as an independent state, because it is one that is filled with a lot of the white settlers in South Africa. So he's even coming to our land and segregate us and divide our land and get a portion for themselves. That is ethnic nationalism. Another point is the anti-immigration sentiment. And this is where they don't believe in especially people from other places going, immigrating to the so-called the white nations or to the West, for example. And that is what is that is what the black person is basically facing in the West today. That is what we're basically terming as racism, left, right, and center in the United States, in Europe, in the UK, and everywhere else. Because the thing is, they believe that, and this is funny because they want to come to our land. They want to come and get resources from our land. They even have the audacity to come to our land and get for themselves a white-only settlement. But they do not believe in us going to settle, immigrating to their lands and settling there. That is the nightmare that black people outside of the continent and even inside of the continent in the white only settlements face today. They're being told that they do not deserve to be here. The black people need to go back to Africa. They need to leave, for example, the United States, the UK, France, and Italy, and Germany, and entire of the UK, the European Union, to go back to Africa. See, what I actually even find the funniest in this is the fact that those that are the white supremacist, extremists, and terrorists that are attempting to chase the black person out of the United States do not even have the idea that they do not originally belong to the United States. They came there, grabbed the land, annihilated the natives of that land, and now think that they belong to the land. Now, another point of this white supremacy, and these are the things that we have to be careful about, to watch, and these are just the red flags that really just sell out white supremacy. Is the idea of preservation of white culture, as if everybody else does not have a culture to preserve. So they believe that the diversity that we bring as when we come together, when we immigrate to different places, the multiculturalism does this. It interferes with the purity of the white race. And you see, for them, as the white supremacists themselves, are people that have also bought into a propaganda to believe that they are any superior. And so they believe that mixing with any other person from a different race is going to impurify the superior race. Yeah. And then something else about the white supremacists is that I found out is the use of violence and intimidation. So white supremacists and extremists often go to the extent of advocating for violence and intimidation just to gain anything, to get anything that they want. That's simply what they did in Africa and in other faraway lands. They used violence to get into Africa, to carry out the massacres, the annihilation of African people and other peoples, other different races, to grab, to steal, to snatch our resources, and they still do it today. And basically use of violence to oppress other people, to take away their resources, to take away our own people as slaves, to take away our land forcefully. See what is happening in the Middle East today, in the so-called the nation of Israel, using force to grab land from people that originally and ancestrally belong to the land. Now, so the whole idea of white supremacy has no rational, logical, or any scientific backing or evidence. It's simply propaganda that is used against people, against black people especially, and people of different races. It has no, there is no evidence we can attach to any of those tenets when they think about them as being intellectually superior, morally superior, So it is time for us to go back into history. And we have also to do this incessantly. And the black person must not tire, because the same way that they sold this white supremacy propaganda for many, many years, the best way to counter this is the best way to counter is for us to come out boldly and sell the good news of the prosperity, advocate for the ourselves, the black community, talk for ourselves, not tire about this. Because if they did not tire selling all the lies to us, then we must not tire selling the truth to our people. We have to continue, not tire, not bow down at any given point, not get intimidated, and sell the gospel of the truth to empower the black community. Such people in leadership, be it in political leadership, religious leadership, and even in our families, we need to come together. We must not be segregated again. I mean, divided amongst ourselves. Let's come as a unit of the black people, the black culture in America, in Europe, and in the continent of Africa, wherever else we are in the world. Let's become a single solid unit that talks in one voice. And the voice is, we will not be broken apart. We will not be segregated, because once we come together as a unit, and then we definitely become a powerful people. Yeah, so that is what I had to share with you today in this video. Please go ahead and share your thoughts and your opinions in the comments. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet done that. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.